And I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here we go. So we're going to get into some serious stuff and the beef. But before we do all of that, I just want to let everyone know that we love hearing from the FT fam, and you can hit us up in a variety of ways: Instagram, Twitter, DMs. You can write a review in the section of the podcast where you're listening. That's always cool. If you want to be with us live during the YouTube chat, you can do that. I know many of you are watching on Bally's Sports TV and on the app, but I do want to point this out, and I don't know who the person is. Yesterday, someone made some type of joke about how it's okay that Tommy Edman doesn't have any home runs with the Dodgers yet. And I didn't really get the context of it. But somebody put that out there during our show. And Tommy Edman hit 2 homers. So I just thought that was cool. And when I saw him go long once, I was like, who did that?
It was probably Todd. That was probably his lock. That was probably Todd's lock.
Oh, you're making him blush if he's listening somewhere. Giving him a lot of credit. We're going to see Todd Father tomorrow. That's pretty good, though, AJ. I mean, dude just makes an Edman joke about homers, which is also not part of his game, but still, then he goes out and hits 2.
Someone has to get a hit off Imanaga because nobody else on the Dodgers can hit him. Maybe that's why they traded for him.
True. That's why it was my lock. So we'll get to it later. But also, before we get to the fun back and forth between the Phillies and the Rays today is 9/11. So every year during this time period, we think of the people that perished during this terrible, terrible tragedy in American history. I'm in New York City right now. You still feel 9/11 when you walk around on a day like this. And you also honor so many service people in, the NYPD, fire department, etc. down the line that were a part of that terrible day. Do you remember that time period, AJ, in baseball for you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I remember exactly where it was. I've got my America shirt on too, by the way.
Nice. Land of the free, home of the brave.
Of course, I remember where I was. I was in Detroit. We were in Detroit at the hotel, and I remember I woke up, or I got a phone call. This is kind of before cell phones. This is right at the beginning of cell phones. I get a phone call, and it's wake up. A plane just hit the Twin Tower, and it was like early in the morning in Detroit. And I was like, what? Stop. What are you doing calling me like this? It was my wife. And then I was like, whatever. And I turned on the TV, and I kind of went back to sleep. And then the phone rings again. And it was right when the second plane went into the tower. And it was like, whoa, something's going on here. So then, of course, everyone starts calling room to room, which, the young people out there don't know what that is. But we used to have to actually pick up a phone and call room to room. And so we all start calling each other on the Twins. And we're like, what is happening, everyone? So then everyone kind of went down to the lobby. The umpires were down there. I think Tim McClellan was there. And I think Teddy Barrett was on his crew at the time. And see them all in the thing. And they're like, there's no way we're playing a baseball game today. And we're like, yeah, I don't know that I could physically do it. And then so everything kind of started happening and everyone's watching TV. And yeah, we were stuck in Detroit for like a week in the hotel because you couldn't fly anywhere, couldn't drive anywhere. So we were just all sit in our rooms and play cards. And, at the time it was CNN. Everyone had CNN on their TVs and we just bounced from room to room playing cards and ordering room service. It was awful.
I'll never forget it. Yeah, I was in college. I finished my first class, had a 8:00 class, and got out. And I remember I went to the gym, and I'll never forget the gym TVs. They were hanging against the wall, and they were tiny. And I was all the way across the gym, and I was like, wow. I was like, that's crazy that they have video of like a little plane hitting the trade tower. Obviously, you come to find out, it wasn't a little plane. And then when the second one hit, it was like, I remember going back and calling my parents from my dorm hotel room. Crazy.
Yeah, for me, I was in school as well. Remember, I'm in the area, so I'm in Jersey, not too far away from New York City, where I grew up. Obviously awful, tons of confusion, and then many stories afterward from people even in my town of, oh, I was supposed to go into work today, or vice versa, which obviously is awful. So anyway, thinking about everyone today and
by the way,
those affected. Yeah.
And by the way, if you haven't been to the 9/11 memorial in New York City, you have got to go. It will bring tears to your eyes, the things that they've have and the things that they show you and the things that, especially, I mean, if you were alive or not alive, but if you were alive and you remember watching it on TV, it is a must visit if you're in New York City. It is one of the, I remember I did it the first time, and then we did it as a team when I was with the Braves. We had an off day and we went in there and took the whole team, and it changes your perspective on a lot of things when you see the photos and the relics and some of the stuff and the work they're doing still at the site.
In 2017, I got to go down to the site on 9/11. We had a game, and I was like, there's no way I'm not, like, I don't know if I'll ever be in New York City on September 11th again in my life. And to stand there, the silence, and like, the silence was deafening. It was like to be next to that and to be there on September 11th. We got there at like 11:58 at night. It's something I'll never forget.
Yeah, Mark behind the scenes saying how the Giants played Monday Night Football. I remember that. I think they were in Denver because there were many people from New York that went out for the trip, and the game went long. And so people skipped work or got in or were going to get in late. Yeah, that was my neighbor across the street was one of those stories. Went out with buddies. He doesn't miss a day of work, that whole thing. But because the game went long, the whole deal, they're like, all right, we'll go a little late. We'll go in the afternoon. So crazy stories out there.
I remember going the next year. We went in late April, early May, I think, in 2002 into New York. And when we flew in, we flew over. We kind of banked over where, because when you fly into New York, you kind of bank over the island, over Manhattan, and you turn depending on which airport you're going into. And you could still see the smoke and everything, the smoldering. It was unbelievable. I mean, this was, months and months later after the fact. I remember everybody just tried to get a picture or jump on that side of the plane because it was one of the saddest, most just, I mean, it still resonates when I think about it because of the people that, and I know, and being from the area that just have lost their lives for no reason.
Yeah, it changed everything. Nothing has been the same since in many ways. So, I mean, it's a long time ago at this point. So it's worth also bringing up every year so that the youngsters that are watching the show, listening to the show, understand the magnitude of it. That's important too. This was in the 21st century. This stuff's real. It's awful, awful. So we'll try and go from that. Yeah.
Here, hold on. And Kratz, this hopefully will lighten it up a little bit, not to make it light of any of this, but before that happened, a big league charter, like big league charters are still awesome. You literally would go from the stadium on your bus right to the plane, no security check, no anything. You just would walk right out, get right on the bus. They drop you right at the front of the plane. You get right on the plane. See you later. I mean, after that, obviously, you had to do security checks, and it's changed it a lot. They're still great, but it was the wild, wild west then. I mean, you just literally stadium, bus, plane, bus, hotel. Like there was no security. There was no anything. Now they have security guys on the buses, security people sometimes on planes, and you do the check, which I'm all for. But yeah, it definitely changed a lot.
Security checks on big league flights are like, okay, you're good. Like they're not checking a whole lot. Let's. It's more fun to watch the guys that are new on the flight squirm because they might have some illegal contraband or something in their bags.
Little edible action?
Just contraband. Just contraband.
Okay. Good to know. Learned a lot here, as usual. All right, so let's not charge the amount. Let's look for some food. What's the beef? That looked like a good piece of meat right there. But that hit by pitch on Nick Castellanos. How do you say this dude's last name? Uceta? He's been great. Uceta for the Rays. He's been great. He had a terrible inning. And Nick Castellanos essentially said he knew it was coming. So first off, all right, Philly specialist Erik Kratz, get in here. Did you see that 96 plus changeup coming from Uceta that he said got, just a little bit loose and out of control for him while Castellanos decided he wasn't even going to swing during the at-bat because he knew he was getting plunked?
Uceta was trying to lower his fine and suspension by saying it was a change. I don't, but the biggest thing before we even get to Castellanos saying like he thought it was coming is the fact that the dude does not throw balls. Like he is a strike thrower and has had an awesome year and got whacked around a little bit. And this was his, I have a hard time believing that this was not on purpose, that he was not trying. And I commend him for just hitting him in the butt and trying to get a guy off the plate. But it is not a changeup. And Nick's sixth sense that he had about that, we have all been there in the box. We have all seen the situation, looked out at the mound and gone, something doesn't seem right. And when something's off, for Nick to say he's not going up to swing at the first pitch, that means something. He thought it was coming, and sure enough, whack.
Yeah, I mean, he said it, AJ. He said he knew it was coming. He said, a quote, he had an overwhelming sense that I was about to get drilled. So he decided to not swing in the batter's box. And he predicted correctly.
Yeah, he was right. But I don't know why the guy would throw at him. I mean, maybe he got a little angry, but I don't know. I mean, the thing that, listen, Castellanos, Bryce Harper is the one that kind of did the whole thing, right? I mean, yeah, Castellanos was barking at him a little bit, but then Bryce Harper came in from second base, and that's kind of what really sparked the whole thing. And no one's even really talking about how Bryce Harper ran from second base to protect his boy. So, I mean, listen, he got hit. It happens. Stuff happens. But if you're Nick Castellanos, go get him. You think you're going to get hit? You don't like it? Go get him. He's right there, 60 feet, 6 inches away from you. If you think he's throwing at you on purpose, go get him. Not that I'd ever advocate fighting or anything, but go get him.
I don't think Nick wanted to go get him. I think he was pissed. But there was quotes after the game. Harper said, "I'm not a loser. I wouldn't do something if he never turns around." I wonder if Uceta turned around, if he had heard him, because you see in the replay, Harper's yelling at him. He's like, hey. If he had done something, that could have really been bad. Harper's got a messed up wrist. He gets in trouble for fighting. If he punches Uceta right there, if he charges the mound from second base, I guess that's still charging the mound. How many games suspension is he going to have? And I know they don't need to necessarily win these games, but they do for the number one seed. They need him to be healthy and get his power stroke back. That could have been bad.
Do you think Bryce was really going to go after him here?
I'm just going by his quotes.
Or do you think he was trying to send a message?
I think he was standing up for his boy, but post-game, he said if he had turned around, it would have been different. But I'm not a loser was his quote.
Yeah, and he said I wanted to use another word. I think you can probably do some math here on what he wanted to say about himself if he, would have gone after a guy who was not facing him. But do you think if Uceta just turns and acknowledges him but doesn't engage, that Harper's just going to start throwing shots at him?
I hope not.
I don't think so. I don't know. I didn't feel that.
He
was slowing down quite a bit. He didn't. Well, okay, here's a thought, AJ. If you really felt like you were about to get into it, don't you go right up to the guy and get pretty close to him and call for him and then see if he turns to you and gets back in your face? Isn't that the way that you would try and engage in an altercation?
Yes, agreed. I think this was Bryce standing up for his teammate, which is great. I think Bryce stood up for his teammate. Castellanos is being held back. I love baseball fights. Everybody, listen, as someone that's been in them, it's always like, look. All right, you're holding me back. I'm gonna it happens in every one of these, and this is a knock on Bryce or Castellanos. So Philly fans, yell at Erik Kratz, not me. But this is the way baseball fights have gone for years. It's like, look at me. So I don't know. I think Bryce stood up for his guy. Castellanos said what he needed to say. And, if you get hit and you don't like it, say something or go get him and then go to first. And I don't know. I listen, the guy for the Rays, yeah, he was probably mad. He shouldn't have done it. But this is the conversation we had the other day. It used to be like, okay, I got hit. Now guess what? We're going to hit 3 of your guys. So if you're the Phillies, you pick out Caminero, you pick out Yandy Diaz, you pick out one other, and you say, that's what, Tony La Russa and Dusty Baker, they're like, you hit one of us, we're hitting 3 of your guys. So boom, boom, boom. And then those guys get mad at their pitcher. That's the way it used to be handled. It's handled differently now, and I understand we don't want fighting. But man, every once in a while you need a good mound charge, don't you?
They're going to get someone today, you would think. The Phillies. There's
Yeah, but
another
they can't.
chapter.
If they
Why?
throw,
Because
if
they're going to get
there'll be warnings. The umpires will go out to the mound and they'll be like, "There's warnings, guys," before the teams take the field. And then if one ball gets away from one of the Phillies guys, who's pitching for the Phillies today?
Wheeler.
Wheeler lets one get away a little bit, and it comes close to somebody, or God forbid, he hits somebody. It's going to be a quick shoot. And that's why I think then Robbie Thompson's going to be ejected. There's going to be a great argument if that happens, though.
Do it in the 7th when your outing's on the way to its close.
See, that doesn't do it. That doesn't do it for me.
You got to do it right away.
If you're going to do it, you do it. For me, if you're going to do it, you do it. You don't wait till you're tired and you're out of it. Like, you know what? First guy comes up, shoot.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Uceta had 6 walks and 0 hit by pitches. This is why Roy Oswalt used to always say, "Hey, man," he goes, "every once in a while, 3-0, you just got to hit somebody." He said, "That way when you drill them on purpose," he said, then they'll think you ain't got no control anyway, so it's no big deal.
It's a great point by Roy, because also Uceta, I think it's one of his hardest thrown pitches, they said, and Kevin Cash said, his emotions, like what did he say, quote, probably lost his composure a little bit.
There's a changeup, Scott.
Changeup.
Okay, it's fine. It's still 96 point whatever I heard hurts. So, yeah, add all of that up. Harper was super ticked. It almost felt like a lot of the Phillies guys were saying we knew that this dude was mad at himself. He had been thriving this year. It was the worst inning of his young career, that whole deal, right? And
let me also say this, though, Scott. I am not for anybody throwing at anybody because you're getting hit. Like when a pitcher says, let's say Kratz hit a home run and I was the next guy up and I would get hit. I'm like, why are you throwing at me? I didn't hit the home run. You know what? You should throw it yourself. You should go in a wall and throw the ball off your own rib cage, you idiot.
Well, that happens sometimes
you're
too.
The one
guys
you're
hurt.
the one that gave up. But don't throw it at me. I didn't hit the home run. Even if I did hit a home run, you made the bad pitch. You should be mad at yourself. Don't be mad at me. That's one of the things I never really liked is when they're like, oh, the guy got mad, so he threw at somebody.
Yeah,
you made the bad pitch. Throw it yourself.
Castellanos said, that's like my 2-year-old throwing a fit because I take away his dessert before he's finished. He said, referring to his youngest son, Otto, he's only allowed so much cake and ice cream, saying how, you're throwing a baseball over 90 miles an hour because you're frustrated and you're going to throw at me for it. I get that. I mean, there is frustration boiling, I think, from certain veteran hitters that are sick of getting hit by pitches. And this part especially is just from a guy that's mad at himself right now and taking it out on his opponent.
If only we had a catcher from the Rays coming on the show later.
Whoa, the catcher from that game, Ben Rortvedt. So we'll talk to him. We'll talk to another catcher, Logan O'Hoppe from the Angels, next about how things are going for his squad when we come back. Oh, and the Philly show will cover this as well. If you listen to it, it has a new episode that released this morning from Jim, Todd, and Ruben. So make sure you check that out. And they had a great interview with Kyle Schwarber from like 2 days ago that I highly recommend you check out on YouTube or wherever you get your pods later on. But for this show, we'll be right back live with Logan O'Hoppe. I like that logo, by the way, for Navage. Got a little congestion. Snoring's a problem. You might think that your breathing is elite, 80 grade, as we would call in the baseball world. But, Kratz, what did you think your breathing level was at on a 20 to 80 scale in baseball? AJ's going to say he's at an 80 now already, right?
I knew I was at like a 60. I knew I was above average because I got a huge nose that's going to let a lot of air through. But I knew I had some congestion, and I was like, I got to at least try it. See? Oh, baby, did I have some congestion.
Mm-hmm. I think I thought I was at a 50, and I'm at a 30 once you try Navage, and you go through the Navage experience 1 or 2 times. Why are you shaking your head?
You went from a 50 to a 30?
No. I thought I was 50 grade breathing. Yeah, no. So I thought I was 50 grade breathing through the nose. Then you go through the Navage experience, and I'm like, oh, I actually was at a 30 grade. And now I'm probably at least double that. from using Navage twice a day if you can, when you wake up and before you go to sleep. So a little more information as we show you the QR code at navage.com/foul. You can also get yourself a free cleaning kit with your starter pack only by using the code FOUL, FOUL. And they use smooth saline flow and gentle patented nasal suction to clear those nasal passages. It effectively unlocks and flushes mucus from those nasal passages, and it's fast. It works as quickly as 30 seconds. Drug-free, 99.9% pure saline salt pods are used with no medicinal side effects. So go check it out. For more information, you can go to the website, but make sure you use that code again, navage.com/FOUL, promo code FOUL. If it's not in there already in your cart, use the code to order a convenient Navage starter pack, and you'll get a free cleaning kit as well as a free gift. We'll be right back on FT with catcher Logan O'Hoppe. Here we go. Logan O'Hoppe from the Angels joining us right now. I've gotten a special request from our technical director behind the scenes that we want to see more of that great mug. What?
We can't see him. He's so far away.
Yeah, why is
Love
he
it.
so? First of all,
Move in.
First of all, him wearing that
see.
sweatshirt.
All right.
Actually, with that sweatshirt on, go ahead and scoot back.
No,
Yeah,
it's
right.
beautiful.
I got a little story
Wow.
to explain it, but we can get to that in a minute.
No,
Well, let's get to it
start.
right now.
No, let's jump right in.
Explain it too
Let's
for the
dive
crowd
right
that
in.
is just
Let's
listening. What you're wearing and why?
Michigan sweatshirt because I am a college free agent going out of high school, and at the end of my recruitment when I was in high school, my parents loved the idea of Michigan, and they had recruited me a little bit at the end of high school, and it's a school I never got to go see or visit. So we were just in Detroit a couple weeks ago, and I went to visit and got the sweatshirt and mom a Michigan parent T-shirt. So she's officially a Michigan mom. So it's fun to walk around and see some different schools, but no other reason behind it than I just went to visit.
That's awesome. Quick follow-up. So do you set that up with the school, like with the group that recruited you? Like, hey, I know I didn't ended up going there, but I'd love to check it out and kind of run through the experience. Or is it something you just kind of walked around and did on your own?
No, walked around, did it on our own. So complete civilian tour for sure.
You
we
need to
coulda got
take.
you so hooked up.
Yeah, you need to take AJ. Look, AJ he's a prima donna media darling even when he played. You need to make these connections so that you can get decked out in all the maize and blue that you ever need. Look at that Jordan logo. That Jordan logo is fresh. It should be a Pierzynski logo. I'm just saying.
I knew buying it that it would rub some people the wrong way, but I think it's all part of it.
I love
That's fine. You can buy it, but I mean, I know a guy that probably could have gotten you one or two for free. I'm just saying. I know a couple people in Michigan.
Fair
You
enough.
need
Not
AJ
that I am
on
a-
speed dial, yeah.
Not that I am a Michigan fan at all, but I'm just saying I know some people that know some people.
All right, may take you up on that then.
He's a free fan. If it's free, it's for AJ. But
No, if it's free, I'll
did you get
take
to see
three.
Did you get to see the baseball facility?
I did. Yeah, it was pretty cool. We walked around and they were having I think it was their first workout that day. So walked around and my immediate thought was, how do people go from this to the GCL or AZL? You know, it's crazy the facilities they have and the setup they have. But like I said, not going to college, it was pretty cool to see. It's something that I didn't know a lot about, but yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That's what my follow was going to be. Like you went straight out of high school. AJ went straight out of high school. I don't know how some of these guys at these elite programs, and Michigan was elite. You know, it's tough for northern schools to be that elite, but they're doing it up there. They want it to be.
Mhm.
The college programs, You feel like they're, with what their setup is, they're sucking some high school draft picks away from going to the Florida Roast League?
This is strictly my opinion, especially with the NIL stuff now. I think so. You see these guys getting drafted in any sport, and they're getting drafted making some millions of dollars, so it makes sense why guys would go to college more than sign and get drafted, in some cases. It's a pretty interesting thing. It's something that I never got to experience or deal with. Obviously, I'm happy how it worked out selfishly, but I think it's a pretty interesting thing and definitely can make decisions harder on kids going through that.
All right, let me ask you this, Logan, because one of the questions I get all the time is, do you wish you would have gone to college? So I'm going to ask you. My answer is no, it worked out for me. But then looking back, I have a kid in college and his son just going to be a freshman next year in college. And I see what these kids do, and I'm like, man, maybe college would have been kind of fun. But then I went to the college of the minor league. So do you wish you would have gone to college?
I don't regret my decision at all. I don't think I would have done very well in college as far as the scene outside of everything. The education part I would love to have gotten, but I really just wanted to play baseball, and I don't regret a second of it. So even looking back on my buddies that experienced it and went through the 4 years and played at different programs and things like that, it's awesome to hear those experiences, and I'm happy it was good for them. But like I said, I don't think I would have thrived in that environment, and I'm happy with the decision I made.
I will say this too, knowing some friends that went there, it is a pretty distracting scene, like on many fronts. Like they're really into sports. There's actually a lot to do. Like Michigan really takes care of the kids and makes them, want to enjoy their time on campus. So I agree. Like you just get to go right into.
We're not talking about Michigan here. We're just talking about college in general. Okay. Nobody cares about Michigan.
David.
Nobody wants to hear about Michigan. Blah blah blah. Let's go. Horns up, baby. SEC.
I want a sweatshirt.
For free, of course.
Yeah,
for free, yeah.
Yeah, this is the free crew right here. Yeah, this is the free crew. We got a lot of free stuff. All right, so let's get to the Angels. First person I wanted to ask you about actually was Reed Detmers and how he shined the other day against the Twins. What did you see, and what have your conversations been like with him? Because this is a guy who was a big deal in college. He's had his ups and downs. I think stuff-wise, you can probably tell the world how good the potential is.
Yeah, the stuff is incredible. That slider is better than most I've seen. I don't really know where to start with Depp because I love sharing the clubhouse with that guy. He really is the example of what we want to be about. Works his tail off, has a plan for what he does, prepares the right way. And I appreciate that out of him. And I'm really happy he's back up with us. And I know he belongs here, and I'm happy that these 2 outings have been good for him so other people can see it as well.
All right, next up I've got for you Ben Joyce. So he just went on the shelf, right?
He did, yeah.
Okay, but before that, we saw the whole 106 against the Dodgers, big series to go up against the team nearby. So what was it like? Were you catching for that game?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. So did you get anyone with the classic look, oh, did your hand hurt catching that 106?
Yeah, I get that quite a bit, to be honest with you. Usually after every one of his outings, I get a couple texts the next day. And even from guys on the field, a lot of guys have told me to relay to him to calm down and dial it back a little bit. It's a really cool experience. Benny's another guy that works his tail off, and it's a testament to all the work he's put in. But catching that is different. Like, it's what it looks like. Like everything around the ball goes pretty blurry, and you got to lock it in. Like I've even had some umpires tell me, "Hey, that's tough to see." I'm like, "Well, that's pretty tough." If the guy behind me is having trouble seeing it, but I don't blame him. It's a special heater, and what people don't see as much, obviously, you see the fastballs at 105, 106, but how good his sinker and his slider has become too. He's got a little splitty as well that he'll use. So the other stuff is there also. It's not just the 106, and I think that's played a big part of his success is using everything off of it. And yeah, he'll be back soon, and I'm excited for what he's able to do in the future.
Does his ball move the same way every time? I say that because catching Chappie, Aroldis Chapman, people don't know when he goes into a righty, his heater cuts. When he goes away to a righty, it sinks. And it's a lot, not sinks, it runs away. And people don't understand that. And they're like, wow, velocity, yippity-yee. Like he struck someone out last night to end the game on 104, but the ball was running away from the righty. If you go in there, so does he ever throw that air cutter when it's supposed to sink?
Knock on wood for my safety, he hasn't. So he stays pretty consistent with it. The two heaters he throws are distinct, but obviously depending on what we call it and go with, then I'm anticipating how it's going to move, obviously. But no, he does stay pretty consistent with it.
Logan, you got a couple other young guys on your team. You know, Caden, Dana, and I don't even Samuel. I'm gonna let you say his last name because I'm gonna butcher it.
All the Gary.
There you
Be a
go.
talent.
Him. We're gonna call him Sammy. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
What do you like about these guys? I mean, you know, Dana came up and dealt, and Sammy's doing all right too. So, what's it like with these two young guys? I mean, you guys have a young team, right? You look at Neto, you look at Shanawell, you look at yourself, and then you look at some of the young pitchers you guys have a young team that's building. So what's it like being, you know, you're the veteran catcher for these young pups now?
Yeah, Dana and Sammy, those guys came up, and it's pretty impressive to see them keep their composure amongst the first few starts. I mean, they're always open to learning, and they always come in meetings with their notebooks, and they're taking notes on the bench of their lineup before their starts, and that stuff's pretty impressive, you know. They're open-minded as well. They don't come in closed-minded, which is really important too. But they love to work. They stay quiet for the most part and get their work done. And I know their personalities are going to come out as time goes on, obviously. But it's exciting to have guys that you could tell care and you can tell take it seriously and aren't just here to live the life of it. You know, they're here to compete and play at a high level. And that's super exciting to see from my perspective as well. And I'm looking forward to getting to know them better on a personal level, and obviously working with them too. Haven't caught Dana yet in spring training and stuff. I have, but obviously in the big leagues in his first two outings, I haven't. But yeah, it's pretty fun to see and exciting to see for what the future holds.
So do you have a special connection with Dana because he's a New York guy, and you talk about like New York stuff and like, yeah, bro, I know it's not the same place, but do you have that connection even though he's like 16 years old?
Talked to him a little bit about it. He's an upstate guy in Long Island, which we know and have talked about. So I always say I think Long Island should be its own state. I think it's got its own identity, but yeah, we've talked about it a little bit.
So you're separating yourself from the beautiful part of New York to the more congested part of New York.
Yeah, I'll say so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think Long Island people are just a little different than normal New Yorkers, a little more prima donna than the city gritty people. I'll admit it. I'm not
Well, hey, listen, Long Island could be the Florida of New York. Like, we'll just annex ourselves.
don't go there. Don't ruin my
It'd be
joke.
perfect. It'd be perfect.
The Florida. No. Let's not get that twisted at all.
What do
I
you
thought
mean?
that
That
was-
sounds perfect to me.
No. I gotta
All right,
come up with
but-
another state, but Florida definitely isn't it.
But Logan, by the way, you better be careful. By the way, because be careful here. Now, Logan, you mentioned like you didn't go to college and you went to the Gulf Coast League and then you did the whole thing. But Sammy started in the Italian League. Like, did you even know there was an Italian league that he started? I mean, he's like, yeah, you guys are all talking about the Gulf Coast League. I was pitching for Parma. Have you ever asked him like, what's Parma and what's that competition like?
I haven't. No, it's going to be a great conversation on the plane tonight for sure. I'm going to pick his brain about it. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what that's like, especially for him. Like, we talk about it being tough coming out of high school, and even the kids from whether it's Dominican or Venezuela, that's tough too. But I feel like that's a whole different ball game too. That's a completely different culture as well. And I'm sure it was tough for him. I had met Sammy a little bit when he was with Philly. We were both with the Phillies at the time, and met him for a very brief period before I got traded. But I'm happy our paths crossed again. And yeah, I'll definitely be asking him about that.
All right, two things. First of all, we got a fan reaction when you were talking about Ben Joyce. Jackson in our chat goes, ball one sounded low from the umpire. Like, you sure? If he calls one and it's like borderline, it's like, you sure you saw that?
That's pretty good. It's tougher to catch him and get those pitches on the edges because it is coming in so hard. And you don't want to cheat to it and get tense, but yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like the receiving numbers are always a little lower with him because it's tougher to stay beneath the ball and trust your hands when a ball's coming in that fast. So, um, but yeah, that's a pretty good comment. I may use that going forward.
That's really good. Can you tell him then, Ben, like, yo, you're messing up my perfect framing metrics right now?
No, absolutely not. I'll tell him to throw the ball harder. I mean, I'm not catching many strikes anyway. They're usually swings and misses. So that's something I'll just have to deal with.
Yeah, you'll take the hit there. I like that. All right.
Yeah.
Also, some fans, obviously some Yankees fans here, have asked about your success against the Yanks. So you've got pretty good numbers so far when facing the Bronx Bombers. Can you explain if anything feels different when you take on a team like that was, so close to home, and I'm sure you watched a ton. I mean, the adrenaline factor of facing a ball club like that, like you haven't played playoff baseball yet. You will at some point, but does it feel a little different going up against the Yanks for you?
It does. I feel more like a kid when I do it. When I do play against them, I think that's normal for anybody in the big leagues with a team they grew up watching. I mean, obviously, it's so surreal playing at Yankee Stadium and have been going there so much growing up. And when they come to our place, it's pretty cool too because you got the people watching at home on that broadcast, and there's just a sense of home to it. That everyone that you know and love is watching and a part of it a little bit more when you're playing them. So I enjoy that part of it, and yeah, I mean, it is a little different than playing the rest for sure.
Logan, as a fellow Long Island, Florida resident, or native, I should say, are you a Yankees Giants fan, or because it's usually Mets Jets and Yankees Giants? So you're a Yankees Giants fan growing up then?
This is all growing up. I want to make it clear that I'm no longer a Yankees fan anymore. Growing up, I was a Yankee fan, and then I watched the Giants, but I don't really have a football team, and probably for good reason. Not being a fan of either of those teams, the Jets or Giants, growing up. But yeah, I mean, I have plenty of buddies that are on both sides of it, and I just sit back and laugh, especially this time of year.
Yeah, especially with those two teams, the way they've been going. I mean,
yeah, probably for the best to stay at it.
The rough go up there in Florida North.
Yeah, I just buy the bandwagon Michigan sweatshirts and then call them my team. So that's the route I take.
It looks nice though. It looks nice on you. Navy is your color. I like that. Red is your color too. AJ doesn't like red, so he doesn't like your Angels uniform. But that's okay. He was only a Cardinal for like 3 seconds, and they fired him from the Red Sox. So he's got an issue with the color red.
Rangers, Twins. Braves. I wear a bunch of red, bro.
I've worn red my entire life. High school,
not dominant.
Like high school Philly, obviously now. So red hits home for sure.
Yeah, and I have to say, we talked about it before, but we have new fans now. It was an honor to have caught in your first game in Yankee Stadium. That was super awesome. Even though no fans were there, nobody could see it. It was COVID style, and you were with the Phillies B team on the whatever it was, the 6 shuttles you guys took from Philly up to New York to play because nobody could breathe each other's air, but. That was an honor for me. It was also an honor to watch you wear what you wore for Players Weekend. Can you explain all that happened for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I get to this, I want to thank you for saying it was the B squad with the Phillies. I think that's very generous. I think it was the D or E squad I was on, so I appreciate a little love there. Okay. No, but the chest protector was really special. That was an idea that I actually had. Before I even got drafted, I forget what player it was, but they had gone to a children's hospital and done it with their cleats. And my mom and I had saw it and said, all right, like if you make it to the big leagues one day, that'd be really cool to do something like that. So as soon as I heard that Players Weekend was happening again, then I hopped right all over it, and we went to the hospital a few weeks later. And I mean, cancer has hit home for me. I've talked about this a lot. I've seen people I love go through it, and I'm sure as many people have. And little things like that could put a smile on people's face definitely help as time goes on. So that was the goal of doing that those kids could see that. And I tried to make it clear to them, put it on the front of everything so they could see it on the camera. And Haven't followed up with those kids yet, but I'll get back soon and see if they saw it in hopes that they gave him something to smile about during a tough time.
That's awesome. That is so cool that you brought that to light and you brought it out there, an opportunity for you to do that. I think you should be aware of that every day, but that's a whole nother discussion. I just want to encourage you because I used to go to the children's hospitals before I had kids, and as soon as I had my first kid, I could not step foot in a children's hospital. So just continue it once you have kids too, because it is so awesome for a guy like you in your stature, in your position. They love it. It lights those kids up.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I would hope to share that with my kids one day too. Reline some perspective for them for sure.
That's, I think, a good way to finish this combo. Logan, awesome to catch up.
No,
with you.
we got to ask him. I mean, we're pumping him up, and it's an awesome what he did with the chest protector. But I know he saw the comments below where his picture right there when we're talking about Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean listen, us people from Long Island, Florida, listen, we're good looking, but I don't know if we're that good looking.
He is.
Yeah, that may be a stretch. People are amazing but crazy at the same time, as we all know. So yeah, that may be a little generous to them, but I did notice a couple of those. I got a couple of texts, and it was pretty funny to see.
I mean, whatever.
It's so
You'll
true.
take that.
It's so true. It's 100% true. Just because you were born in Long Island, you didn't get the good looks. That's why you have to have a beard to cover up. He doesn't have a beard. He's just showing all the gloriousness. Keep it up.
Tried to grow a little facial hair a couple weeks ago, or this past week rather, and woke up one morning. I was like, "This just ain't it. This ain't me." So I rather not get hits and look like myself than try to force something out of it.
So he was walking around Ann Arbor the other day, and they're like, "Is that Leo? Leo's on campus."
Oh, and they're all like, "Pick me, Leo. Pick me. We're your right age, Leo." Oh wait, sorry.
Oh,
Quite
stop.
the opposite. Quite the opposite.
Yeah, this is literally the opposite person.
Well, I know. Yes, we know.
Yes,
we know.
exactly.
We know.
Well, that's cool.
Logan, before
yeah.
you go, hold on. I got one more question for you. You guys are about to play the White Sox 6 times. Okay,
Mhm.
They are on the verge of the all-time record. Do you know what for?
I do not know.
Okay, losing the most games of all time. So, if you guys are the team to do it, if you guys are there when you break the record, are you going to celebrate?
We're not too happy with where we're at this year, so
Okay, good answer. Because I'm going to celebrate.
day.
I'm going to celebrate because a team that bad that I once played for, hell yeah, let's go. We got the all-time record.
No, we're gonna chalk it up as a win and move on to the next and then keep doing it and finish strong.
Okay, good
There
answer.
you go.
That's
So locked in, doesn't
sure
even
is.
know about it, right? Doesn't even know about the record.
Got way too much going on outside of it for sure.
Exactly. Worrying about your own dudes. I like it.
Hey, the Angels are playing good, man. The Angels are playing much better. Let's give them credit.
They are. We'll
Much
hit that
better the second half.
in a few weeks when we get Logan back. We'll kind of recap the whole year. So, Logan, great to catch up with you, dude. We'll get you again soon. Finish strong, all right?
Likewise, thank you guys. Appreciate it always.
Thank you. See you, Logan. Logan O'Hoppe, catcher from the Angels, with us on FT. Ken Rosenthal, FT Senior Insider, getting ready for his segment next. All right, here we go. So for the YouTube crowd, because this one uses a fun word, Liam Hendriks was nominated for the Roberto Clemente Award. And he said, quote, "It's not that hard. Just don't be a dick." That's it? That's all you need to take home the hardware?
Apparently, according to Liam.
Oh, wow. Did you ever get a Roberto Clemente Award, AJ?
No. Are you kidding me? No one's going to nominate me.
Does that mean? But that doesn't mean you're a dick.
No, it doesn't. But no. I mean, listen, Liam does a lot of stuff. If you followed Liam, I mean, obviously he had the cancer and went through it, but he also does a ton of stuff off the field, and he's very deserving of this award. I wish he would have just come with a little bit of a better answer than this, because there's a lot of guys I know that aren't dicks, and they never got him either. So never got nominated. So I think there could have been a better answer than this one, but Liam's a different bird.
I'm going to hard disagree and just say it was funny. I'm hoping that he was just like, I'm just going to say something different and be funny. You know,
Yeah.
most of the dudes are probably giving the cookie cutter answers like be great, be your best self, do this, do that, whatever, which is good. But like, this is actually a good way to get attention for the award.
It is. It is. I'm sure he's got a few, and as much as he gives to charities and animal shelters and all that stuff, I'm sure he's going to be in line for a few more if he keeps playing.
Yeah, Liam's a different cat. He'll tell you that.
Wait, when's he coming back? Is he coming back soon?
Soon. He was on rehab. I gotta look it up because I was talking to him the other day. Anyway, I'll see when it was. But he was throwing in Worcester.
Okay, we can probably look it up while we're chit-chatting with Ken Rosenthal, FT Senior Insider. Inside Scoop time. We'll start with the Padres and his article this morning on AJ Preller and the work that he's done lately. That's coming up. Inside Scoop time with FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal, who just put out an article in The Athletic about the Padres. You can call it turnaround season because they're at least on a pathway to the playoffs right now. Ken, great to have you back on. And I'll let you kind of lay out what you wrote about and how it came about.
Basically, what I wrote, Scott, is that this is, in my opinion, AJ Preller's best job as general manager, maybe his best team. Now, that point can be argued. Last year's team was so good, you forget the names that were on it. Juan Soto, of course, Josh Hader, Seth Lugo, who shut out the Yankees last night, Michael Wacha, and others. And those guys, Blake Snell's another one, all gone this year, but yet they are a better team than they were last year. Mike Schilt has replaced Bob Melvin as manager. And one of the reasons they are better is because AJ Preller built a deeper team, a more complete team. And as he always does, he gives the Padres a competitive advantage because he is not afraid to trade prospects. And who has he brought in? Well, started with Dylan Cease, then Luis Ariz, then the relievers at the deadline, Jason Adam, Brian Hoeing, and of course, Tanner Scott. So they're in a great position. Darvish has come back now. Tatis has come back now. I don't know that they're going to win the World Series, but this is a team that has performed a lot better than last year's team, which was, by most measures, unlucky to a degree. But for whatever reason, this has been a turnaround, Scott, and Preller is the driving force behind it.
They're winning close games. They're hitting with runners in scoring position at an astronomical rate based on what it was last year. But what hasn't changed is, I remember reading an article by somebody talking about how AJ Preller was a little hands-on, and maybe that was part of the issue. Has that changed at all in this season, or is he still that, I'm not sure what was said, like a helicopter general manager like he was last year?
That, Eric, is a very good question, and you're referring to the story that Dennis Lynn and I wrote at the end of last season. We wrote another one at the end of the season before about his management style. My understanding is that it has changed a little bit, or maybe even a lot. It has improved. However, to this point, our efforts to get that story have not been successful because the Padres apparently don't want that story told, even though it's a positive story. So stay tuned.
Okay, so I've got one for you. Bob Melvin was the manager of last year's team. Now he's the manager of a Giants team that he's calling the worst year, essentially, of his major league career as a manager in his 21 seasons, which is saying a lot for Bob Melvin. For fans, they try and make it nice and simple. They're like, he was managing last year. Now he's managing the Giants this year. Giants are underperforming. Do you see any links to I don't want to say to Bob, but more to the problems that seem to have been sparking with him and the front office last year?
Well, last year was last year. And yes, the problems between him and Preller, we documented them in that Athletic story that I referred to. There's no question there were problems. That's why he left, and A.J. Preller allowed him to leave for the Giants. Now, it is fair for fans to question the record. And Bob Melvin did a question and answer interview with Andrew Baggerly of The Athletic this week, and I encourage people to read it. He took a lot of accountability for this year. And it's not that it's all his fault. We all know it's not all his fault. They lost their center fielder. They didn't have a great offense. They were just not the team that you thought they would be. Blake Snell took a while to get going. Robbie Ray, the whole deal. We can go through that chapter and verse. But he did take responsibility for his part in this. And he said, interestingly, I thought, that he wasn't always trusting his gut because he was kind of caught in between. He's with a new team, an analytically driven team, wasn't sure kind of where to draw the line between them. So I don't know that Bob Melvin has deteriorated any as a manager. In fact, I would suggest he hasn't. And I would also suggest that people look back to 2022, which wasn't that long ago, when he led the Padres to the National League Championship Series. But clearly, he wants to make it work in San Francisco. That is, of course, where he played. It's where he grew up. It's the place where he wanted to be. And I would expect, given the turnover that likely will take place this offseason and some of the things happening there, that he'll have a better year next year than he did this year.
Ken, yes, they switched managers, but they also lost Hader, Soto, a ton of guys, Blake Snell, who we already discussed. What has changed in the Padres clubhouse? Because, yes, they made their bullpen nasty. Like, if they get into the playoffs and they have Darvish, they have Musgrove, they have King, they have Cease going, and then you got their back into their bullpen with Adam and Scott and Suarez and all these guys in the back end. What's changed, though? Because it's going into this year, everybody said, yeah, the Padres are going to be okay, but they got rid of all this talent, and now they're better. It can't just be Mike Schilt. There had to have been a culture change. There had to have been something else. Because normally when you lose that much talent, you don't get better, you get worse, and the Padres got better.
I don't know if this is a thing or not, but a lot of those guys you just mentioned, Snell, Lugo, Waka, Hader, Nick Martinez was another one, and Gary Sanchez, kind of a minor league signing, but these guys all were potential free agents last year. Juan Soto was a year away from free agency, but it obviously was still on his mind. I don't know that last year's version of Juan Soto was the best version. He got hot at the end, and his numbers were good, but it wasn't the Juan Soto we're seeing this year, not the same impact. So the question is, and you cannot define this, you can't measure it, and I don't know if it was even a factor, was that team in a situation where too many of the players were preoccupied with their own individual circumstances? I don't know the answer to that, again, but it is a reasonable question to ask. I raised it in the article as well. It's one of these unknowables. You just don't know. But this year, the potential free agents are much lesser parts for the most part. It's Tanner Scott. It's Kyle Higashioka. It's guys who are basically role players. Profar, again, is eligible for free agency, as he was last year. So I don't know if that's part of it. I can't tell. I can't tell for sure, but it is certainly fair to ask that question and wonder the effect of having so many guys in their walk year, big players, and whether that contributed in some way to them underperforming.
We're going to shift gears to the MVP candidacies. If Bobby Witt was in the National League, just take his exact year and put it up against Ohtani right now. Does he win a National League MVP? Because we talked about the whole DH, and DHs never win, but I feel like Ohtani's season is way different than any other David Ortiz MVP seasons.
Eric, it's funny. I could act like a GM and say, listen, Eric, I'm not going to answer a hypothetical. But then AJ would get mad at me. So the question is a very good one. And Witt's season is a borderline MVP season in his league. It actually is a legitimate MVP season in his league, and I'm not convinced yet that he's not the MVP. Judge has slowed down and Witt's doing really well still. I mean, he slowed down somewhat as well, but those two players, they're much different, but Witt has had an astounding season. And MLB.com's Mike Petriello, who is one of our better writers in the industry, had an interesting column the other day in which he said Bobby Witt would be the MVP of the American League. The only reason he's not going to be the MVP is because Aaron Judge is putting up a top 10 all-time offensive season. Now, if that's how it ends, that's how it ends, and Judge is the MVP, even though Witt is superior at shortstop to Judge in center field. But that speaks to what Mike wrote, just how good Witt's season has been. For those fans of wins above replacement, it's a 10-win season. It's amazing. 10 wins is not easy to get to if you're a player. So would he beat Ohtani? I don't know. 50-50 under any circumstances, Eric, would be difficult to vote against. And people talk about, well, he's on the Dodgers. It's not that big a deal. He's got that talent around him. But when Mookie was out, he moved to leadoff and kept doing big things. In fact, did really bigger things. So I'm not sure Witt would edge him out even in that league. But Witt has had an MVP caliber season. Let's not make any mistake about it. It's that good. Defense, base running, offense, the whole works. And he has elevated a team that lost 106 games last year. Did a lot this offseason, did a lot at the deadline, kept going in August. We talked about that the other day. But he's the centerpiece of it all.
Ken, did you see David's comments? I mean, we both
Yes.
we both know David. My thing is about David. He would have been fine with what he said, but he threw in the little snide name calling thing. Like, it would have been a better. I feel like it would have been a better quote if he would have said, "I never won it, but now they're going to give it to Ohtani as a DH." But instead, he had to throw in that little comment, which changed the context of it. Did you have any thoughts on that? Because I love David. I've known David since we were both like 20 years old, and I love David. I've never known him to be like this, so it kind of caught me off guard when I read these. But do you have any thoughts on why David would say such a thing?
No. And AJ, I will say the same thing you just did. It caught me off guard a little bit. It surprised me because David, the one thing he is, among other things, is very respectful of players. And he, I know, thinks Ohtani is an incredible talent, incredible player. I was with him, I don't know, right about 2 months ago when we were out, and he was talking effusively about Ohtani. So I don't know exactly the context of that interview. I didn't hear it or see it or whatever, but it surprises me that he would take even a veiled shot like that. Ohtani, what did he call him? The pretty boy of the league? I mean, that's not a really respectful comment, and it is unlike David to say something like that. And I'll mention this as well, and I would tell this to David if we were together right now. The difference between Ohtani and every other DH is that he's going to steal 50 bases. I don't believe David stole 50 bases. I don't believe Frank Thomas or any of the other guys who have finished high in the voting. Yordan Alvarez a couple of years ago. Those guys, great hitters, amazing. But Ohtani brings that other dimension on the bases.
Two things. He called him the pretty girl of baseball.
Okay.
And the other thing is, everybody hear that? Kenny Ballgames and Big Papi are out. They weren't just hanging it. They were hanging out outside of the game. I'm thinking it's probably in the
let me
some
clarify.
Fiore, all that
Eric,
stuff.
I should clarify. It was a Fox dinner. So it wasn't like we were out clubbing.
All right.
Still cool, though. Still cool.
Ken, you are still cool. My last question, kind of good transition with Big Papi talk. You're doing the Yankees-Red Sox game here coming up on tomorrow, correct?
Correct.
Has it lost its luster? Has the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry lost its luster year after year after year, and now we're at 2024?
I would say it's not what it was certainly a few years ago when they were meeting in the playoffs and when the Red Sox were their equals, if not superiors, and superior in 2018, among other times. Right now, the Red Sox are kind of in a funny place. They're pretty good, and they're still technically in the wild card race, 4 games out, but they're not the Red Sox of Big Papi and Manny and that crowd, or even a few years ago, Chris Sale, Devers, the whole group that they had then. It's still a rivalry. It's still a big deal. There's no doubt about that. I don't know that that will ever go away, but this rivalry is at its best when both teams are powerful. and I would not call the Red Sox powerful right now. They're intriguing, and they've got the top prospect, according to Baseball America, in the game, Roman Anthony. They've got two other kids, Marcelo Mayer and Kyle Teal, who are coming. They should spend money this winter. We said that last winter, and do some things to make themselves better. But right now, they're not at the level of the Yankees, and that's why the rivalry does not quite feel the same.
Okay, Ken, real quick. Is that why you're not at the Rays-Cleveland rivalry tomorrow and you're a Red Sox-Yankees? If it's diminished, shouldn't you be at the other game with me? I don't understand.
AJ, here's the deal. So you can look at this hotel room. This is a really nice one, and I knew I was going to get this one. So I said, no, I'm not going with AJ, man. I'm going to New York.
Oh, okay. That's what it
Let's
was.
go.
It's a hotel room.
Yeah.
I mean, there's these things called points programs, Ken. I know you have all your first point ever earned. You got to be upgrade eligible by now.
AJ, I do quite well with points, and my family benefits greatly from them.
Yes.
Oh.
There you go. I love that. Hey, he's a roving reporter, so he just happens to rove sometimes to some very nice hotel rooms that are very accommodating. Perfect way to end this. Ken, enjoy that hotel room and the game tonight, or tomorrow, right? Tomorrow.
If I leave, I'm not sure I'm going to leave the room.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You could be a remote
nice.
roving reporter if it's that nice.
That's
Order some
right.
room service and enjoy it. And then we'll talk to you later this week. We'll see you on Fair Territory also on Thursday.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal has Fair Territory for you with Alana Rizzo, 12:30 Eastern Time. So if you had any questions today and we didn't get to them, then good news. You can ask those questions on his show in the YouTube chat when it happens on Thursday live. We will be right back for the Bally Sports TV and Bally Sports app crowd with FT. Okay, this one's for the dudes. Let's talk about Manscaped and that starter kit and what that can bring to the table, okay? And also, I do want to mention there are multiple items that you can add to your cart if you check out Manscaped. That includes really nice, comfortable boxers and other apparel. That also includes very nice body wash. So there are a number of items for you to check out if you head over to manscaped.com. But we do want to point out the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. The star of that show is the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. There are two interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, standard one for taking a little off the top, and then that new foil blade to go smooth wherever you want it to go. Dual LED spotlights providing contrast on multiple skin tones, 3-length setting combs, and maybe best of all for you, it's waterproof. If you're into that, beach, lake, shower, whatever it is, the razor gets the job done. So you even get 2 free gifts with the Performance Package 5.0, the Manscaped Boxers. The Shed Travel Bag is there for you. And if you want more wet products, then the new Buff Bundle is all you need to help you out. And that bundle includes their signature silicone scrubber and the body wash that I was referring to. So all that happens if you join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the exclusive offer from FT. 20% off, free shipping when you go to manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com. But you got to use the code FOUL20, FOUL20. AJ, that's my Manscaped voice because you point out the different voices I use.
How many different voices do you think you have?
I would say probably my over-under is probably 20.5. What do you guys want? Over-under.
That's why we get 20% off Manscaped.
Exactly.
If you had had more voices, you would have got more off Manscaped.
Yeah, exactly. It's 20% off for the amount of voices that I used at Manscaped. We'll be right back. where should we start with Dodgers Cubs? We should start with the starter. Yamamoto's back. The Dodgers are saying he looked better than ever, so that's good. Did you see him firing early on in that game?
Slinging it. Eight punches in 4 innings.
K'd the side in 2 of those innings. So he had 6 in 2 of those innings, the first and the third, I believe, last night. So, AJ, for this team, it's been all about cool, let's have fun, let's sell tickets, let's do the bobbles. Ohtani's here, but it's October. So even though he costs a ton, I don't think they really care that Yamamoto missed 3 months. If he looks like this for the next 8 weeks, great.
Yeah, you think? Yeah, I think they're more than happy if he can go out and pitch the way he pitched last night. And then he gets built up to a fact where he can go 6 or 7 innings. Yeah, he dominated this Cubs lineup with the split, with the fastball. It looked like a different guy. Now, will he be healthy enough, and can he stay healthy and be built up for October? That's all that really matters for the Dodgers at this point.
Yeah, I can't disagree, but how much more, if you're coming off rehab, how much more can you ask for from the Dodgers? Like, you can't be anything but excited about this, but you also can't sit here and go, he's our ace, he's the guy we're going to ride throughout the playoffs, because he's got to show you that he can stay out there. Sorry, Clint. I don't agree.
Territory.
Not an ace yet. Threw like an ace? Absolutely. You can have one game that's an ace.
Yeah.
93 mile an hour split? Yeah, that's ace stuff. But how many fastball strikeouts is he going to get? He didn't have any yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
With fastball strikeouts?
I mean, I watched many games at one time. I'm pretty sure when I saw them strike out the side in the first inning, there was one on a curve in the dirt. I'm pretty sure that the last one in the first was on a spotted fastball, though. There was a splitter. I think one was on a fastball in the first.
Okay.
It was like 97 or 8.
Swing and miss strikeout on a fastball. To me, that will be the game changer where it ends. You think about going out there with Glasnow. Glasnow's fastball is elite in a fastball league. Can Yamamoto throw all these off-speed pitches? Absolutely. Is the Cubs lineup meh? Absolutely. So to me, you have to be super excited. I'm not hating on what he did in his outing. I'm saying you got to have something. You got to be able to throw that fastball by guys and not only rely on the off-speed pitches.
You can throw that speedball by you. Man, what a great song that was.
Glory days.
Scott's like, what are you talking about?
Huh?
You're not a Cougar
if I don't know,
fan?
don't you think some other people don't know?
You don't know? You never heard the song Glory Days?
Maybe I've heard it, but I don't know the name of the song.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no.
That was a line from it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can throw that speedball by you.
It's
I got a long
song.
drive to Atlantic City after this, so I'll look it up later.
Yeah. Wow.
Pete Crow Armstrong catches?
You might be kicked off the show.
No, come on. You know what I listen to. Come on. That's what I bring to the
but
table
this is
here.
a classic.
Yeah,
Whatever.
come on.
That's not me. I'm not into classics. Pete Crow Armstrong, nice robbery. That was good. That was nice for Imanaga.
Can't even talk to you right now.
Okay, cool. Max Muncy, bottom 9, 1 on. This would have made it a 1-run game.
Wouldn't have mattered.
No. Pete Crow Armstrong
catch,
with the
though.
catch.
It was a cool catch. So poor Max. That was an extra homer. Even the Dodger fan tried to get that ball to be a homer. Look at him reaching out over. One guy tried with his hat. The other guy tried with the gator arms. He's like, missed. Yeah. Pete Crow got it.
I think it touched. I think it touched that fan, and he still came up with the catch. If you watch the replay in slow motion, when I was watching it, it looked like something moved, either that guy's shirt or the guy's hat that he stuck out. I'm not sure what moved there, but I couldn't. That's a great catch. It's not a game-saving catch, but it probably killed somebody's over because it was at 9 and the over was at 9.5, so that would have cashed the over.
I didn't get a close enough look to see if there was any fan interference, but that's okay.
Doesn't matter.
Great catch by Pete. He's an elite center fielder. There's some really good ones in our game right now. Doyle on the Rockies, Jacob Young on the Nats, like some dudes that you probably don't talk much about. They're on teams that aren't contending, but they're really good in center field. All right, let's get to another Dodgers pitching injury. And this one is not a deep dive into the organization. Andrew Friedman doesn't have to spend any time in the offseason looking this one up. Dude got frustrated. Dave Roberts said it eloquently. He said Anthony Banda took on a solid object in a moment of weakness and frustration and will miss time with a hairline fracture on his left hand. Some reporting from Juan Toribio. That sucks. He'd been putting in some good innings for them.
Much like Scott, who doesn't watch the classics or know the classics, Anthony Banda clearly never watched Bull Durham because he's left-handed and you never punch with your throwing hand. You always punch with the other hand. So that way, if you break this hand, you can still pitch, because if this hand breaks, you're out. So don't hit things, kids, when you get mad, unless you know how to do it, and then you're safe.
You're never going to win. You're never going to win, and you look silly doing it. Anytime anybody would beat something up in the clubhouse, like beat their helmet up or beat a locker up or their bat up, I always enjoyed when somebody took it and like put Band-Aids on it and put it back in your locker. Well, now Anthony gets some Band-Aids on his left hand, and it sucks. When I played with this guy, he was rehabbing with the Rays, and his stuff is electric coming out of that arm. Well, it's not going to come out for a little bit.
Yeah, that sucks. And for a team that, I mean, let's be real, we keep talking about with the pitching injuries and losing innings, it's just a crappy timing for the Dodgers. Anyway, fun series. And Anywho, the Cubs and the Dodgers have had some fun playing together, and so have Northside Territory and Dodgers Territory. They did a crossover episode recently, and Sahadev Sharma was on there with Alana and Clint. So if you would like to check out what Northside Territory brings to the table, they've had some pretty deep dives into what's going on with the Cubs, what they could do in the offseason, the whole deal too. You can check that out. Multiple episodes weekly, wherever you get your pods, and you can check it out on YouTube as well. And there's Dodgers Territory for you. Lana and Clint back in action tomorrow with a show at 3:00 Eastern. They'll be live to talk about everything else that went on in this series. Okay, we're swinging right back on FT. We still have to talk to Ben Rortvedt, who is, I would say, one of the men of the hour because he was involved in that little back and forth with the Rays and Phillies yesterday. That's soon. FT fam, we want to make a special announcement today, and we'll be talking about this throughout the offseason until it actually happens. The Major League Baseball players are going to be in downtown Phoenix for what is now already the 3rd annual Playmakers Classic, and you can be a part of that. You saw many clips from the Playmakers Classic last year with us there, talking to all of the players. There were dozens and dozens of current Major League players there for an awesome night. You can be a part of it. All goes to a really great cause. It's hosted by the Players Trust. So we want to announce that it's going to be moved to Phoenix, Arizona, and it is going to take place around spring training time, February 18th. So that's good news because you can probably head over to a local spring training site beforehand and watch some players get ready for some spring training games. I don't think the spring training games start quite during that time period, but it's pitchers and catchers already reporting, and probably most of the teams are there already. So you can kind of couple that into a trip. So make sure you check that out. Here's more information for you, and you can scan the QR code to get 15% off tickets to the event at playerstrust.org if you use the code Playmaker or Playmakers FT for 15% off the 3rd annual Playmakers Classic. It's February 18th. It's attended by MLB players and Hall of Famers. Live performances. You'll hear music, interactive games, tastings, great food, great cocktails, and it is supporting academic and athletic programs. Guys, both of you were there last year, so you got to get a good look at what it's all about. And you know, a lot of players put a lot of time into this too.
It was awesome last year in Vegas. I had a great time. Scott got to eat some cool things like food and in Vegas, and they had these cool things called food that Scott got to try. But no, it was great. I mean, we got to meet a lot of players. We had Max Fried, trying to think of the list of players that we had on last year. It was absolutely
Stevenson,
awesome.
Stevenson, Flaherty.
Steven. Yeah, I mean, we had a ton of guys on last
Flaherty
year.
was there. Pham was there. Yep.
Yeah, it was definitely something special, and I look forward to hopefully being there again this year and getting to support something. Players Trust was something that I did when I was playing. Eric, I'm sure you did it. They did the buses for baseball where they'd bus kids in before the game, and there was a bunch of stuff that they did. It's just a great organization. If you can support it, please do.
They do it right, and you can tell the players get behind it. Like, the players aren't just like, oh yeah, great, I'm here. Players were all about it.
Yep. So go check that out. We'll talk more about it each week here on FT. Hot corner time. Did you guys see this? Can I call them Sacramento A's next year? No, you can't say that, right? You have to say ATA. Well, we're independent. We can say whatever we want. So the Sacramento A's next year, the ATH will be playing in Sacto, and they could be a playoff team. They probably will be a playoff team sometime in the next 3 to 4 years, at least, when they're going to be out there. But there have been reports that there are no promises for them to receive playoff baseball out there. One thing to keep in mind from Evan Drellick in The Athletic, hypothetically, said all three of the league, the team, and the players could wind up aligned on this plan where the A's would play postseason baseball somewhere larger than Sacramento. Attendance affects what the league would take in money-wise for the playoffs, and that affects the player pool. So it affects basically revenue for everyone, and that's why you could see an easy agreement on that front. But then again, it just states the case for how difficult it is going to be to recruit free agents. Hey, we think we're building something special. We're going to win. And then free agents like, cool, are you going to pay me more than everyone else? Because if not, these are not ideal playing conditions. This is a small minor league park. And then we don't even have a playoff advantage. So it just adds to the frustration factor there.
Why? Why would they not let them play in Sacramento? I don't understand. So where are they going to go? Back to Oakland? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? They're going to play all their games on the road? That sucks. Like, you finally make the playoffs after a bunch of years, and now you're going to go play in San Francisco in the Giants Stadium? I don't know. I think this sucks, but what do I know?
You know a lot.
Doesn't matter. They don't care. Players care.
Who doesn't care? Oh,
Players care. Team doesn't care. They had to have seen this. You can't have games in Sacramento. I'm so glad that they're not going with that. You can't have playoff games with 12,000 people in a packed out stadium. But you also can't say, okay, well, we just want the stadium that has the most people in it. If they go down to LA, if they go down to the Dodgers, I know they're talking about Oakland, the Coliseum, which isn't going to be taken care of for an entire year, so you can't put people there. Oracle Park, people aren't just going to show up to a stadium because their team is playing in a playoff game there. It's not that easy. And I don't see what they're going to do. I don't see what they're going to do, but you want those gates. It's going to affect guys' playoff shares. It's going to affect teams' money, which this is the whole reason they're pushing to get out of Oakland. It is an absolute debacle.
Okay, well, the owner of the Oakland A's, his name is John Fisher. You can look him up. There are really good articles on him. He is not concerned about how those players feel about playing on the road. He is concerned about the fan experience. So, for example, if the Oakland A's are playing the New York Yankees, maybe he asks the Yanks if they would like to take all of those games, and he'll split the pot. Or maybe he finds some big place for everyone to go to that holds a lot more fans so they can all enjoy Aaron Judge home runs together, because he is really into that. He is on the record saying how excited he is for Aaron Judge to be playing games in Sacramento next year. Go look it up. You might think I'm kidding, but if you missed those quotes, that is real, okay? Also, well documented by this crew right here. Great account to follow. They document all of it. Baseball's last dive bar.
I don't know. There's got to be something better than what we're doing now. And I don't know, if you're the players, if you're on the Oakland A's, you're Shea Langoliers and you're Brent Rooker and you're Lawrence Butler, and you guys finally, hopefully get to the playoffs in the next couple of years. And they're like, hey, by the way, you got to play all your games in New York. Wait, what? Or you got to play whoever they're playing in the first round. You got to go to Houston for the wild card round and play and the division series. Even though you won the division, you got to go there for 5 games. What? No, that's ridiculous. There's got to be a better way to do this. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but someone out there's got to be able to figure this out. Right, Scott?
Yeah, but they're going to tell the players, hey, do you want X amount or X amount of money for playing in the playoffs? Because this is going to affect the playoff share. They're going to try and talk through that situation. That matters. Money matters.
But they're also going to say, well, if you win the home field advantage, you'll be the home team. They play the Yankees. You'll be the home team in 3 of the 5 games that are played in Yankee Stadium.
Oof.
That's what I see Major League Baseball doing. Like a decision that is completely irrelevant to what you work 162 games for an entire season to get to. And then they're going to be like, well, we'll still reward you, but it's going to be played at a different stadium.
Do you think they'll really do that, though, guys, or do you think they'll just pick another site? I think they'll pick
just a random site?
Yes, I do.
How's that going to work?
How is anything going to work with what we've talked about with this franchise over the last few years from a business standpoint? Every time we talk about things that sound ridiculous, they happen.
You pick the site. You pick the site right now. Like what stadium are they going to play at?
Vegas, the new one they're building that they've already started. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry.
No, wait.
That hasn't started. Oh, never mind.
Started.
The Giants are in the playoffs. The Giants want to make the playoffs, and they have a legitimate team in their city that's playing for their city, and it's at the same place. Giants are in the playoffs. Can't go to San Francisco. Nobody's taking care of the Coliseum. Where are they playing? Seattle? They're going to play their games in Seattle?
Texas.
Okay, Texas, because you got a dome. You don't have to worry about rain. Awesome.
Yep.
You think anybody's just coming to a random neutral site? This isn't the Super Bowl.
If they're playing the Yankees, that place is going to be packed with Yankee fans. If they're playing certain team, or if they're playing the Astros, that'll be packed too.
Somebody's
I'm hearing
buzzing.
weird mic stuff, so that's probably
so whoever it is.
That's probably A's ownership. So that means we'll step aside, but we'll keep talking about this at some point.
It's been breaking ground in Vegas.
It's AJ. It's AJ breaking it up. AJ's
right,
the only one telling
We'll
the
do
truth.
a little reset. Let's take a quickie break, okay? And we'll come back with the catcher of the Rays, Ben Rortvedt, on FT. Uh-oh. Sound a little fuzzy still. You might have to do it, right?
AJ just needs a little anytime fitness in his life on his mic.
All right, so Erik Kratz, take it away. You're the star of the show. You've got the point guard skills. Let's get into it this way. Tell me how difficult it can be in your life as a former pro athlete to stay in shape the way that you want to when you have the schedule going on and you're on the road, I would say somewhat frequently for tournaments, work, etc.
The best part for me with Anytime Fitness is the fact that at work, we don't travel a ton, but we do. With my kids' schedules, we travel a ton. So let's say I'm 3 hours away. Well, I got 2 hours in between my kids' games. My kids go and they hang out with their buddies. What do I get to do? I just get to go and punch it in on the app to see where the closest workout facility is for me. Head on over there. I don't need to be a member just at that exclusive one. It's anywhere and it's anytime. So it doesn't matter when their games are. I get to use this all the time, let alone using the app all the time too.
And what if you're like, I don't know what I'm doing when I'm there? Well, good news. There is expert coaching support available for you at Anytime Fitness as well. And that support continues on the app as well, the digital app that you can download. Oh, hey, what's up, AJ?
Guess who's back? Back again.
Exactly.
Today's back.
Yes. So anyway, let's show the code for the FT fam. 5,000 plus well-equipped gyms open 24/7. That personalized coaching support that I'm talking about with the best training, nutrition, and recovery guidance. It's holistic fitness too. Support doesn't end with training. They focus on body intelligence. Also, it's an inclusive community vibe, welcoming everyone coming together from different areas to be kind of part of the same minded goal of reaching your goals and having fun doing it at Anytime Fitness. Scan that QR code on your screen to just give it a shot, give it a look. Go check out that website. I'll also drop the link in the chat for Anytime Fitness to get yourself a free Anytime Fitness trial pass. And it's actually perfect timing, well placed, because we've got one of the most jacked dudes in baseball joining us next on FT. That's Ben Rortvedt. Here we go. Ben Rortvedt joining us right now on FT. Whoa. Have we ever had a setup like this right at the top? What are we doing here? We getting lunch with
What do we
Ben?
got?
Come on.
We got the Philly
know where he's at?
cheesesteaks. Of course.
Wow.
Just came from the food room.
Delivered fresh. Looking good. Go ahead, Kratz.
Scott
Give us
can't
the
have those.
play-by-play
Scott
of what
can't
he's
eat
got
those.
there.
No, but Scott can't have those. Those might be the best
Look at
Philly
these.
cheesesteaks in the town of Philly right there. Do you go whiz or no whiz?
I got it all. I'm loaded. What's the record in the
Oh.
room right now, Eric or AJ? What do you guys got for a 3-game set?
Oh, come on! You can't be putting that in your cuerpo. I didn't make the big leagues till I was 30, so you're not putting. I couldn't put that in my body when I was playing. But man, Marcus
good.
Hanel. Marcus Hanel is a Wisconsin guy,
Yep.
and his name should still be up there
Yep.
as the record holder. He also had a heart attack the next day. For his
Seriously.
opinion. Yeah.
I know Marcus. I caught with Marcus 3 winners with AJ Ellis, and I heard all about it. Can hold 7 baseballs in one hand. I think he holds the 4-game set record for Phillies. I think they said it was 25. I think the 3-game set is 21 now. So I'm not even close. I think this is number 4,
No.
and it's starting to hurt.
Yeah.
You go
Don't do
breakfast
it.
one too? Like if it's a day, you guys didn't have a day game, but if you had a day game, they do breakfast cheesesteak. Then you can if there was a day I wasn't playing, I could do like a breakfast one, and then I could do the one at lunch before the day game, and then you do the one after the game that they wrap up in tinfoil, and you can take on the plane. So I mean, 3 was like a max for a day. If you
Yeah.
ate 3, walked
Yeah.
out there, I was like, oh, whoa.
It's horrible, but they're amazing. I mean, we have all night games, so I haven't gotten the breakfast one yet, but I've been pounding the loaded ones when we get to the field, making sure I'm trying to flush out a system before we hit the game. So, yeah, I've been taking them to go as well.
It's the bread. It's the bread,
They're-
right?
they're
Something about the
big.
bread.
They're big. They're
I don't
making them.
know.
They're stuffing them more by each day.
It's not the bread. It's called an Amoroso roll. Okay, it's not bread. This isn't Florida. Okay, it's an Amoroso roll.
Isn't a roll bread? Isn't roll bread?
Stop. Since we have beef on the screen, let's talk about the beef last night in the game. Okay, it's good for you for getting the chicken and not the beef cheesesteak because it's not the same. But anyway, let's talk about the beef in the game. I know you were on the bench, you had your feet up, you were getting, you had a probably mid-game massage going on.
No way.
What did you see? What was your angle from the whole Uceta, Harper, and Castellanos scenario?
Yeah, so it's been a good 2-game set. Both teams have been throwing the ball well. We had a good game offensively. We put Ranger on the ropes. Got tied up in the last into the 8th inning. Uceta's been throwing the ball great. Came in trying to get out of a jam. Got hit around. From my understanding, one got away. I know he had words with that as well. One got away, arm side. That's not like him. And it just looks bad. It looks bad. I know how it all comes out, and you got to defend your players in their sake. But yeah, it's just kind of how things unraveled. That's what happened in the game. And yeah, I think that's all it is. You said he's a good guy. He's throwing the ball really well this year, and just got away from there, from my understanding.
What's your go-to move in these situations? Because you got to have a go-to move. You can't be.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't have the biceps like you have,
Oh
and
no,
only have
I
3
would-
home runs and not do something in a bench clearing.
Oh yeah, you feel a lot better when the gear's on. You're in the moment, all hot in the game. I know that. You feel like you're an armor out there. And I hopped out, making sure I'm in the middle, trying to clear things out. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. No one thinks much of me when I'm in a sweatshirt. I'm 5'8", but I feel a lot tougher when the gear's on. Just making sure everyone's kind of in their way, everyone's out of their way, and everyone's good. So
Leave your mask on. Leave your
Yeah.
mask on.
got to leave
Trust
your
me.
mask on.
Leave your mask on, because if your mask comes off, then the punches can come from anywhere. Okay. So if you leave your mask on, they got a very small area to hit. Right. Nobody will take a
Yeah,
swing
totally.
at you. So if you're catching and someone charges them out, first of all, don't let them get your pitcher, but try to leave your mask on if you can, because then the sucker puncher from behind doesn't have as big of an area to hit you in.
Oh yeah, totally. I got the hockey mask, so I'm all set with that. But yeah, last night on the bench and just trying to make my way out there as fast as I can. But yeah, it's funny because Driscoll just got called up last week, and I know he's not calling a fastball in the back. I know he was pretty shooken up after that thing. I think it was his third game starting, so that was how to get him introduced to Philly. So that was kind of
Yeah,
funny.
tell me about it. Well, Osetta said after the game, "Oh, changeup just got away." 96 point.
Yeah,
whatever.
that I think that was maybe a misunderstanding or misinterpretation. You can't play that off. That's one of his. I mean, that's 96. So he's not throwing his changeup that hard, and yeah, he's from my understanding, he was trying to set up his changeup, throw some good fastballs, but yeah, that wasn't a changeup.
What were you hearing from the Phillies guys? I mean, they were super vocal after the game about how they felt like, hey, this inning got away from a young dude and that something could happen. I think, some of the vets in the game in general have complained lately about the uptick of hit by pitches, some from control and some from situations like this over frustration.
Yeah, we've had unfortunately we've had a couple. I think in LA we hit one of our lefties leaves the ball arm side a bit, hit Ohtani, kind of got a little chippy out there, not too bad. Here happened here. Just all those guys are not afraid to back up their players. Harper's coming from behind the second base. I'm not sure exactly what he was saying. We don't do that here, which fully understanding. No one wants to put anybody in danger in that way. But yeah, everyone's just backing up their players as they should be, just showing support to them. So yeah, it was pretty cheap. We got out there late, and by then everyone was wrangling Harper out of the way. But I didn't even see Harper most of the time. I was keeping my eyes on Castellano and the rest of the bench, and I kind of swirled around at that point.
Hey, listen, you play for the Rays now, okay? The Rays used to fight everybody back in the day, right? You came from the Yankees. The Rays used to fight everybody. I'm surprised you guys only been in two. I mean, you back in the 15 years ago, 10 years ago, it was like, oh, we're playing the Rays. Watch out, guys, because something's going to go down.
Oh yeah,
It was great, though. It was fun. The Rays would fight everybody. You came over from the Yankees. So, I mean, when you came over from the Yankees to Tampa, did Kevin Cash call you in his office and say, okay, listen, we fight the Red Sox, we fight the Yankees, we fight the Orioles. We don't really get into fights with the Blue Jays yet, but I didn't know if he told you that, hey, you guys also fight the Phillies.
I've seen both sides now coming from the Yankees talking about the Rays. Yankees, we were missing arm side a lot, and Yankees, we pitch inside. I don't think any of it was on purpose. So that was coming from last year. Randy got hit a lot last year. Randy got hit a lot this year. I think people just throw him a lot inside, and after a certain point, after a certain point, it's a threshold that you can't take anymore. You have to stand up for your players. So yeah, not in Philly, but the Yankees and the Rays, I've seen both perspectives. Cash, they don't want to stand for it anymore. We got a young team now, so it's a little different dynamic. We had at our trade deadline, we got rid of a lot of our veterans, so it's a younger team now with not a lot of experience in those things. But at the end of the day, it's good to show kind of what these guys are doing and supporting their teammates and how to go about it.
All right, Ben. Ever since we know, I'm wondering if I can get the 4-box so it shows all of us here, all four of us. AJ's a big dude. I'm kind of a big dude, but there is
You guys
a little
are
bit of
big
a man
dudes.
crush. There's a man crush going on with the guy up in the upper left-hand corner here. Scotty's biceps. Yep, there you go, AJ. Right here, this guy. Scotty's been checking your biceps out, and he's got some biceps of his own. He's got some Mondo biceps. But my question is, because I played with Yandy. See, I don't even need to say my question.
You have to play with him. That's the main. There's no understanding until you play with him. Because I thought the same thing. I joke with him around first base. I've taken a step back in all my weightlifting. I'm trying to stay healthy. Really not stay out of the weight room as much as I can, keep my weight on. Yandy is a different animal. When I say he lives in there, he lives in there. I'm surprised he can swing a bat. It's truly impressive. He's a large man.
Now,
Is he?
now, have you ever seen him sweat though? Because I played with him an entire season, and I played with him again in 2019. Watch the rest of this month. When he works out, does he ever sweat?
Oh, sweat? No, and he wears turtlenecks in the game too. He's wearing the thermal Under Armours. It's really impressive. And you know his
He
jersey's tailored. You know his jersey's tailored to the shoulders, everything. He's wearing the tight shirts to make his jersey bulge more. He's probably wearing 3 leggings to make his legs look better. I don't know his tricks.
he doesn't sweat though.
Doesn't
It's
sweat.
all about reps and time. And does he still have a red phone? Because he would always do a set, and then I'd watch him, and he'd just go over to his phone. Nothing comes up. Nothing comes up on his phone. He's just,
Yeah.
and then he'd put his
He's
phone down. Yep.
he's always listening to something. I don't know what it is. Always has his AirPods in. Always has to take him out to say anything, and he's back to doing his curls, back to doing his reverse walks. It's yeah. If you can't find him, you know where he's at. He's either eating rice in the lunchroom or he's working out.
Does he do curls every day? Kratz always drops that. He's like, Yandy Diaz curls every single day I've ever seen him. Is that still a thing?
Probably. I just don't. I don't even look anymore. I go in the weight room, do my thing. He's there doing his thing, and you can't keep up with him. He's doing a circuit with 4 other things going on. I think the first homestand when I was with Tropicana, I was getting warm in the weight room, and there was bands everywhere, and he just started pumping out triceps before the game, before he took the field. And as soon as he left the room, I walked up to the triceps and pushed him down too, and then walked out. So
Yeah,
He's like
he's
a-
funny.
he's like
let me
He's a
see
good
what
guy.
this guy's
He's
doing.
like a professional
I,
wrestler. He's gotta
I
get-
made fun of him. I made fun of him, and then when everybody left the room, I went and cranked some out and then took the field.
He's like a pro wrestler. He's got to get his
He's
pumped
huge.
up. He's got to get all swole before he takes the field. Like professional wrestlers, they got. If you've ever been to behind the scenes in a wrestling match, they all have the bands and they're doing all their exercises to get all their muscles fired up, so they look huge when they walk out on TV.
Exactly. He's low weight, lot of reps. So
Hey, Ben, you said you scaled it back a little bit. So can you take us through where you were at and where you're at now? You know, like you said, you probably were going really hard in the gym back then. So like, what did you dumb down, and do you feel like it's helping you?
I worked out a lot just because I found joy in it, and my body felt good, or I thought it felt good. I'd always stretch, but didn't do a lot of mobility and stuff. I think I have a couple knee surgeries. Everything kind of worked like feet up. My knees bothered me. That could have been a result of other things. I'm just making sure my body's working good before I put on weight. And this is the first season that my lower half has felt good through and through. I used to just pump weight to look really good. I would always hit the baseball accessories, but I'd almost get carried away. But this year it's more just feeling good, staying on the field. Maybe my power reduction has gone down, but being on the field for 162 was my main goal this year, and I feel like I've done that and kept weight on to a certain extent. So I'm in the weight room, but I'm not doing as excessive stuff as I was before, and I like doing. So
That's good. That's what your career is about, making the adjustments, staying on the field. You get
exactly.
paid way more if you stay on the field and you're healthy.
I
Congrats
had
on the new baby, by the
Thank
way,
you.
also. That's awesome. You've
Yeah,
gotten
no,
your
it's
baby body back beforehand, so
amazing.
I can tell.
It is amazing. Brooks has been a joy. Being away on the road has been tough. It's awesome. Being home. I wish all the bad games would be at home. I remember Jason Adams said that if you had a bad game, you're going back to your baby. You forget about it right away. I wish all my bad games would be at home. It's awesome coming back to Alana and Brooks. So it's awesome. And they grow up so
That-
fast. Like it really does fly by. It's been 2 weeks, but you can already, when you see them every day, you can really tell.
That's awesome. Congrats. I got to take you back to a minor league story that somebody texted me when they found out you were going to be found out you were going to be on the show. So I was told to ask you what happened the first stolen base when you were forced to go to one knee catching. What happened on the throw?
Who told you this? I know you had Wells on the show before. That's my guy. He might know this one. But Tanner,
Wellesley
who's the catching,
and Tanner. Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad that's the story because you could probably dig some stuff up. First first time catching from a knee stance. I know I'm a knee down guy. I was very cautious at first. I thought I caught really well. I caught and threw well. Um, Tanner came into town, said, Ben, catch from a knee this inning. I never practiced it before. Hasn't even thrown down before. Didn't know how it was going to be done. At that point, I don't know why, but I was throwing from my knees a lot because I was spinning and staying on a line more. Every time I stood up, I'd either sail high or pull it down. So I go from a knee. Of course, someone takes off. My footwork's all messed up, and I rip a ball right into the pitcher's kidney. He goes into a crouch, and I just pull down on a line right into his back. And I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying not to laugh, and that's on my phone. That's a really good one. That's a really good one.
Wow. Who hasn't done that? Who hasn't hit a pitcher, put him in the hospital? I have.
I
I
didn't put
have.
him in the hospital. I didn't put him in the hospital, but you
Oh,
guys have
I
that
have.
over me.
I,
That
oh,
was a good one. That was pretty. I felt bad, but it was pretty funny at the same time. He was
it
fine.
is fun. As long as he was okay, that's fine. Now, I got to ask you, since we were talking about how much you like to work out and all that, was your favorite minor league team the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles when you played for the Twins? Because they used to be the Miracle and they changed their name to the Mighty Muscles. Was that after you left there?
That was after I left. I was with the Miracle. I was with the Miracle.
Okay. Okay. I
Purple
didn't
and
know if
yellow. Purple and yellow. Big switch.
now they're purple and yellow, right?
Yeah, purple and yellow with the Mighty Muscles. Yeah, that was a big switch. But I was with the
Yeah.
Miracle. Pretty good
Okay. Me
logo
too.
though. Pretty good
I
logo.
was with the Miracle too, back
Yeah.
25 years ago, way before
Yeah,
you. But
you were with the Twins. You got drafted by the Twins, right? Yep.
yeah, so imagine this. Now think about this, and I've told this story. When I was with the Twins, we didn't even have a weight room. This is in the big leagues. This is big league. Forget minor leagues. Tom
Wow.
Kelly, our manager, was like, "You do not lift weights. It makes you too stiff, and you
stiff.
can't throw and you can't run. So we didn't even touch a weight. Like there was no weight rooms in the minor leagues. There was no weight rooms in the big leagues. It was nothing. It was just go out and play, boys. So can you
How did you
imagine the
feel?
difference? I mean, I felt fine. I didn't know the
Yeah.
difference though. I
Yeah.
didn't know the difference. But then we got to the big leagues. We hired a strength coach, and he still wasn't for it. But now it's all about like what you're doing. Like the cheesesteak probably is not on the Rays diet. Westie's probably had
No.
like 30 of them in 3 days. But for player wise, you can't have those.
All of us are dipping in. I mean, we're in Philly once. I don't think we came last year. I don't think we come this year. So we're getting our loaded cheesesteaks. We're trying to be sick of them before we leave this place. At least I am, because they're really good. They're really good. I'm just making sure I eat them early enough that they're hopefully out of my system.
Yep, there you
Yes,
go. That's the strategy.
You don't want an accident. You definitely don't want an accident.
That's the way to go. But would you have made the big leagues if they didn't have weight rooms? I always wonder this. Like I wonder, like AJ is going to be 6'3", 250 pounds with or without a weight room. But would you have made the big leagues without all the work that you've put into the weight room?
I don't know. Probably not. I'm very undersized. I've always put on weight well. I've always worked out at a really young age. I've probably been this size since like high A, maybe even before E-Town. I know AJ knows E-Town, Elizabethton. I was this size. Even drafted, I wanted to go out of high school just because I almost was fully grown. While I got drafted out of high school, there was really no point in me going to college from a physicality standpoint. But it's something that I've just learned to adapt throughout. And always adjusted my routine from my injuries. I had a lot of obliques just because the way I worked out. Almost eating not as healthy has helped me as a catcher, with being more rugged and like being stable back there and not being hurt. So I've just adjusted along the whole way. I had a foundation when I got drafted, and I've just built off of that.
Can't
All
pull
right, so
fat. Can't pull fat, Scott.
that's true.
Can't
Yeah.
pull
It's
fat.
true. I'm on board now. I'm on board now.
All right, so then let's do this to celebrate. Can you take a bite? Say bye to us, and then just take a bite as we go to break.
Yes, absolutely.
Cheers. Here we go. Ben Rortvedt.
I need one of those bad.
There you go.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate you, man. This was awesome. Really great conversation. Appreciate you, Ben. Good luck the rest of the way,
Thank you.
dude. And enjoy the cheesesteak. That was awesome. Really great conversation with Ben Rortvedt from the Rays. Obviously, we had the big news from yesterday from that game, and then just talking to him about life and cheesesteaks. And then now we have rally sausages for 2 minutes. So did you hear? AJ, it's back in Minnesota.
I did. Tell Ben I'll see him tomorrow. I did hear
There you
about
go.
the rally sausage, and I'm praying it's not the same one, but I think it is the same one. So first of all, how do you still have that one from like months ago where they made it go away? And where was that thing stashed? Like that's the questions I need answered. Yeah, you have the rally sausage back, and they won the game. They needed it. But where was that thing, and whose locker was that thing sitting in for the last, 2 months?
I don't know. I had something mean the other day in my system, and I feel like it's because they brought it back. That thing is a walking disease, but if it picks up wins and homers, Kyle Farmer with homers in back-to-back games, Twins with a big win yesterday, and I say big because teams are behind them. Like the Tigers won again huge yesterday. They're playing the Rockies right now, beating the crap out of them. They need this. They need this right now. They need something else. And it's the rally sausage. I'm sorry. It's got to be something, right?
They got it. Maybe the rally sausage takes them to the playoffs and beyond. But you seeing that cheesesteak, you might be sick tomorrow, Scott. So like you got a 2-grade belly. So the summer sausage, it's just not for you. Let me tell you this. If somebody tells them they'll go to the World Series if everybody eats a slice of that summer sausage, there's not one dude in that locker room that wouldn't line up for a piece.
Wow. Oof. Well, they might not get their insurance. It's like when guys want to play in the WBC and they're like, nope, you had a summer sausage. You're not cleared. We can't pay for your insurance. Wait, let me show you this too real quick from Aaron Gleeman. Record through 145 games for the Minnesota Twins. 77 wins this season. They were at 76 last year, but it's a 13.5 game difference in the standings because they're 6 games back of first this year. They were 7.5 up at this point last year. Just to show you how much the division has improved. And in my mind, this was part of the calculation for them. They didn't figure out or they didn't project the division to be this good, which is why they cut payroll by 30 mil, did nothing at the deadline, etc., and ended up in this spot. Still okay. I think they're fine just being a wild card team, but they're going to have to earn it the last couple weeks.
I mean, the division isn't that great. I mean, there's 4 teams over 500 and then 1 team that's not over 500.
Yeah, well, the division also has a record breaker on the way. But you know all about that if you watch this show.
They compare.
BetMGM locks. There's only one thing to know. Gold stars don't win championships. Okay. Cubs plus 145. Bank it. Thank you, Pete Crow Armstrong, for being a stud yesterday. Cubs upset the Dodgers. AJ with a lofty goal there at the plus 552.
You know what? Well, there's a couple things. First of all, Houston, how do you not win that game? I mean, you got all kinds of chances. First 2 extra innings, they don't score. Brutal. Eric Giddy got his last guy. He punched out to get over 6.5. I was like, no, this is going to happen. Darvish went under. It was, but I blame the Astros.
3 consecutive bunts from the Oakland A's. 2 runs in that top 12. They were like, we don't know what to do. Let's just bunt to death. Because, why not? Let's just try something cool. Kratz, the Mets finally lost a game.
Mets haven't put up in 9 straight games. They haven't gotten double-digit hits. In all of this
Wow.
winning and the long streak that they haven't had double-digit hits.
Props to them for putting those wins together then. That says a lot about Mendoza and just everything that they're doing and lining up from front office down to the players. All right, Kratz, no gold star today, so go ahead.
I'm just going over Michael King punchies. I got over at 7.5 punchies. He's facing the Mariners. And it's at plus 110. He has gone over that 4 of his last 7 starts. And the Mariners, they appreciate some punch outs.
AJ?
They've actually stopped punching out though since Edgar Martinez has taken over. So just something to think about, Kratzy, for your bet there. But I'm just saying. All right, now I'm going Dodgers, Cubs over 9 because Bobby Miller's pitching, and I forget who's pitching for the Cubs, but Bobby Miller has given up a lot of runs. Oh, John Wicks. Although I know that's not his name, so don't get mad at me. But and then
Jordan.
Jordan Wicks, yes. But John Wick is a
Yep.
great film. So and then I'm going
Yeah.
Sean Manaea over 5.5 punch outs. Why? Because Sean Manaea, the Blue Jays strike out a lot, and he's gone 9, 5, 11, 9 his last 4 starts, punch outs. So I think Manaea, lower arm slot, that gets me to plus 229.
There you go. Okay. I'll keep it simple too, as I usually do. Oh, hold up, Kratz. Let me get my pick in real quick, and then you can
I
brag.
didn't do anything.
Okay, you're just going to sit there.
Just get your pick
Baltimore
in.
plus 120. Dean
I got a
Kramer
bonus
against
pick.
Nick Pivetta.
Austin Hedges hitting a homer.
Nah, because that happened. You guys can't even just let this poor guy who can't eat cheesesteaks throw one pick out there at a plus 120, trying to stay hot with my plus money picks. Okay, I got you. Dean Kramer against Nick Pivetta tonight. Orioles are better than the Red Sox. I was tempted to go yesterday. I'm doing it today. Okay, plus 120. See if the Orioles can get on a little roll here heading into the postseason. There's your locks for the day, and go get yourself a little bonus offer up to $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. If you use the promo code FOUL, FOUL, when you sign up for a new account at betmgm.com or on the app and you place your first wager, depending on what that is, you can receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. And if that happens, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Gambling problem or concern, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay. Erik Kratz sitting there waiting for everyone to give him attention on the Progressive Bounty Shootout. You can join us tomorrow. I can't believe it's already that time. September 12th is tomorrow. The event starts at 3:15. We're going to do our regular show down at Borgata, our second home in Atlantic City. Buy-in for that tournament is $220, and you can get involved. Anyone can play. So go sign up. Go get some more information by looking up BetMGM Poker. Got more information on our social media accounts as well, including the BetMGM Poker social media accounts. So check that out. Okay, Kratz, go ahead. Show your trophy and rattle off a few names, too, that you're excited to see tomorrow.
What? Oh, I didn't even. You guys should be holding yours, too. You guys should hold yours up and show everybody. I mean, let's go. Dylan Betances is going to be there. I don't even know how he's going to sit at the table. He's so tall. You got Andrew Jones, Grant Balfour, Philly fans, Brett Myers, Ruben Amaro. That's just the start of the list, not even including
It's going to be a good time. Todd Father, Cameron Mabin's going to make a little appearance to hang out with the crew. So AJ will send you some pictures, some selfies, and we will not include Erik Kratz.
There you go. I'll be in Cleveland.
All right, well, we'll be watching the game. We'll watch the game later. At least some of us will. Kratz claims he won't because he'll still be at the tables probably till 1 a.m, getting to the final table. But we'll see. So if you want to hang out with us, go for it in Atlantic City. Be right back. Going to be a fun show tomorrow, by the way, for everyone that's watching from wherever you're watching. So we'll have many of those people on the show. I think Betances is going to join us Friday because I think he's going to be back there for more poker playing. But then we'll have Jones and we'll have Cam, Todd Father, and Kratz, Balfour, and Ruben, etc. So we'll get as many of them on the show as possible during that 2-hour time frame on Valley Sports TV, the app, the whole deal, and of course for you, the YouTube fam. We're going to say goodbye once we come back. We won't give you the bonus time this time so we can, some of us, start heading our way to Atlantic City. So I'll try to pick 1 or 2 questions here real quick while we have a chance. Bourbon and Baseball asking, who do you feel the rival is for the Yankees right now? I mean, got to be Orioles, right? Just based on for saying right now, they're the better team. They're the 2 good teams in the AL East, right? Easy one?
Yeah.
This season.
Astros?
This season it is. But I know the Yankees. I know for a fact, and you heard Ben Rortvedt talk about it, the Yankees, they look at the Rays and they're like, ooh, what do they do? First thing they asked me when I came back from the Rays, what do they do? What is their secret sauce? So there's a little jealousy inquiry there.
Okay. And then one more for you. Ref asking about the guys that make league minimum. Do they actually get paid for more appearances and workouts and stuff? He said, does anyone know? I mean, you get meal money and all that, although you don't even really get that anymore.
It's not like the NFL where if you show up to workouts and all that, you get a base salary in MLB. There's no workout bonus, any of that stuff.
You don't get paid in spring training, right? You just get the meal money?
Yes.
And the meal money is much less than it used to be, correct?
Yes, because they give you all the food.
Chefs. Yeah.
Spring training, it's not. Spring training, I mean, at least in 2020, they were still getting about $1,000 a week.
Okay. So, and that's why you would see sometimes teams make cuts at certain times when it was due.
Mondays.
Right? They'd be like Mondays it was due, so they'd cut the guys before they'd get the money.
It used to be cash too, and that was
what?
cash in an envelope.
That's nice or dangerous, depending on who you are.
Both.
All right, we'll finish big. Yeah, we'll finish strong here with Slap coming up in a sec. Go ahead, Mr. Kratz. Deliver it quickly, and then I'll give everyone else a little bit of info about tomorrow. Nice.
Just a sweet military salute for the Brewers. I thought I had an NYFD hat, but can't find it.
That's okay. That one.
I have one. I was going to wear it, but I didn't want to steal your thunder.
No,
that was really nice of you.
Call me.
That's your thing, Kratz hats.
Yeah.
Andrew Jones is definitely confirmed, by the way, to join us tomorrow. So if you have any questions for him, maybe we'll ask him about the Chipper Jones comments that I heard the other day. And Dellen's definitely going to join us Friday. Grayson Rodriguez from the Orioles joining us Friday. We'll get a little update on his progress as well. 2 days in a row for FT in Atlantic City. Same time. We're live. Whole deal, 1 to 3 Eastern. And we'll play a little poker. There you go.
Everybody get your trophies out. Have them.